Hey everybody, Coach Troy here. Now this is my top 10 movie games for the Atari 2600. Alright. Now video games and movie tie-ins have not had the greatest history. The NES and LJN is probably the pinnacle, the peak of movie game garbage. And that is a tradition that has kept on throughout the years. But not everything in there is absolute trash, right? There are some gems to be had. And some of these good games, these gems go back to the Atari 2600. All right, we got some real winners here. Well, kinda. All right, number 10. Now, this one kind of is making my list by default. I'm just going to throw it on there. I didn't know where to put it. This is a hard one to place. So I'm just going to put it in number 10 right off the bat, and that is Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, the reason I say this game is hard to place and where exactly do we put it is because this game is doing some amazing things. There's lots of really intelligent, genius things that are put into it. But it's not a game you can pick up and play by any means. This is a game that if you were to just pick it up without the manual, you'll be completely lost and have no idea what to do. So there's going to be plenty of reading to go along with it. But at the time, if you were to pick this up, it was like nothing you've ever seen before. You have an inventory slot. You have to actually use the joystick and the right controller port to mess around with your inventory. You have different weapons, different items, different things you have to do, and there's so much trial and error to figure out what exactly you are doing. There are some clues along the way, but a lot of the time you're just going to be trying to figure out, moving around, guessing, not knowing what you're doing. But outside of that, this game did some things that just were never before seen. And while it's not a game I'll probably ever play through, it does a great job of kind of going through the movie. Not exactly, but there are definitely some key points that you're going to find in this game. And it's a game you can actually beat. Kind of a rarity on the Atari 2600. Number 9. Now, there are a lot of games where they had the license, but they weren't quite sure what to do with it. How do we make this movie into some kind of game? So they just went with whatever ideas were popular at the time. So this one just turned out to be a Pac-Man clone, and that is Aliens. And this one you're going to be going around a maze, or the ship, and stomping on eggs instead of eating dots. You will pick up, I think that is a pulsar. You do that, you can actually go over the aliens and kill them. They don't really look like aliens from the movie, per se. They kind of look like the little monster, the rubber monster thingies you'd put on the tips of your fingers. You also had a flamethrower you can use, but that wasn't super helpful. But it would turn the aliens away so they wouldn't chase you down. And there was a second screen, a bonus screen, if you can get through it. I never really could. That thing was too tough. I think you got an extra guy if you got through. I'm not sure exactly. So yeah, decent game, but doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the movie. That's Aliens. And number 8. Now this one doesn't exactly have amazing gameplay, but it definitely does hit the theme of the movie very well and gets you in that Halloween spirit. That's right. It's Halloween. Just listen to that music. That is glorious music. Now, it doesn't exactly look like much because, well, it's really not. All you're doing is trying to take children, and apparently if you move them all the way to the right, it's a safe room, and you get points by doing that. But while you're trying to get around the house, Michael Myers is hunting you down. And you better be careful because he is vicious. Doesn't matter if you are an adult or a child, he's going to chop some heads off. Yeah, I can't believe taking out children was actually allowed. I guess this is well before the rating system. I don't know what this would get today. But it's not exactly a whole lot to this game, but it is fun. It's worth a few playthroughs, at least once a year on Halloween time. That's why it's my number 8, Halloween. The next one is based off a movie I have never seen and have zero desire to, but it makes a pretty sweet Defender clone, and that is Megaforce. In Megaforce, you are going to defend your little cluster of buildings right here at the beginning while you take out enemy spaceships and missiles and try to take out the base on the far side. And it plays a lot like Defender, but the gimmick here being when you're on the ground, you're on a motorcycle that will shoot towards the ground and take things out there. When you're in the air, you shoot straight at ships. There are different bonuses you can get when you take things out on the ground. If you shoot them again, you'll get extra guys, but sometimes you replenish the enemy if you hit the wrong things, so be careful there. I do like how the motorcycle and flying ship seamlessly change as you go from the ground to the air. It's a neat little gimmick. It's an alright game, but there's definitely better ones in this genre of game. Still, for what it's worth, you'll have fun with a few playthroughs. And that is my number 7, Megaforce. And that was the problem with a lot of games, was that they didn't exactly know how to implement the movie into game form. And when you did that, if you did try to, it wasn't always smooth. You could see where they weren't quite sure what mechanics were to be used. But this next one is a game where they definitely tried. It's not the best, but they definitely tried. And that is Krull. That's right, this has the scenes from the movie at the beginning. It is the wedding where you're trying to defend the princess. This is kind of just a point grabber because inevitably she will be grabbed and you'll be moved on to the next scene, which is just you riding on your horse, and along the way you want to pick up, that's right, the glaive, one of the coolest weapons ever, right? Didn't we all want a glaive when we were young? Too bad Xena would do it better several years later, right? From there we go to the infamous spider web scene. Oh, this actually creeped me out when I was a child. That spider, I think it started my arachnophobia. And this particular part of the game is a giant pain because you got to jump over these strands of web as they come at you, and they just catch you and they stop you, they slow you down. The controls are just more frustrating than anything else, but you are in a timer, and if you take too long, that spider will come and finish your game. So, you got to get up to the top there, and it will mark on the outside where you need to go to find the castle. And this part just plays like a game of Breakout, depending how many glaives you have. Hopefully you picked up a few of them, because if you only have one, they will disappear once it's touched by the main baddie right there. And then it doesn't matter how many lives you have. It's not the best implemented game, but I do like how they have several different screens. They really tried to bring the whole movie into it, not just one scene, so I can appreciate that. That's why it's my number 6. This time it's a horizontal shmup in Fantastic Voyage. In this game, just like the movie, you have entered into the body of somebody and you're going through their bloodstream, like through their veins, taking out all these nasty things that are going to kill them, while also not taking out certain things. For example, if you shoot blood vessels, it will actually do harm and make you lose the game, so you got to be careful there. So you're pretty much going to go through it, taking out different things, until you get to a giant blood clot, and you have to clear that to move on to the next area. It's kind of a simple game. I like the idea. The graphics don't exactly pull it off, but I like what they were attempting here. So I'll rate it more based on just the gameplay. I think they did a good job. And number 4. Now, at the time, disaster movies were a very big thing. Just movies about disasters and people trying to survive them. The Poseidon Adventure, I think, was probably the biggest one. I saw that movie so many times. The other one was the Towering Inferno, about a bunch of people trapped in a high-rise building that's on fire, and they're at the top, and so they can't exactly get through, and this is what they do to try to survive. Unfortunately, all that isn't exactly captured in the gameplay here. Instead, you are just going floor to floor, trying to wipe out the flames, get to that elevator spot in the back, and then come back out front and save some people. If you take too long to do that, then there will be people dying. I think there's 3 people on each floor, and they will slowly die unless you get in and out really fast. You work your way up the building and eventually clear out all the different floors. It's a little simple and it doesn't look too amazing, but I do like how the fire moves back and forth. It's a little unpredictable, so you got to be very careful as you traverse the corridors. Also, the controls are not the smoothest. They are a little bit difficult. You get stuck on the walls, but I think that actually helps. I always just kind of imagine it as, it's hard to see, it's smoky, and so you can't exactly see too clearly through the halls, and that's why you're getting stuck if you don't move too carefully. I don't know, maybe that's just my justification because I like the movie. But still, the gameplay is fun and I enjoy it. And that's why it is my number 4, the Towering Inferno. In the 3 spot, we've got Tron. All right, what was bigger than Tron back in the day? Well, a lot of things were, but it was pretty dang popular. What a crazy idea for a movie. And of course, just with the premise of that movie, you've got to have some kind of video game tie-in, right? Now, there was the cool arcade game that had different games that you could play. M Network had 2 different Tron games. Now, the first one was The Adventures of Tron, which, but much better was a game that just took from the one scene, all right, and there's a scene that everybody wanted to play out, I'm sure. No, not the surround one. This was Deadly Discs. Now, for a lot of really good movie games, this is what you got to do. You just take one part of it, one scene, especially for an arcade-style game, and you just latch onto that and make it awesome. And that's what they did here. Now, it's just very simple. You got your little guy here with, I don't know if he's wearing a duck bill or a pompadour hat or what, but he's got his disc and he's going to launch it around. Unfortunately, it doesn't exactly work like a boomerang where it's going to come back and hit him from behind and then take him out, so you got to hit him as it's going at him. You are going to always have up to 3 different enemies on the screen at a time. They're going to come at you in waves. I like that. It's not just one hit, you're done, but you have a few, but you only have 1 life, so few hits, 1 life, make it work. Every time you take out a couple of waves, you are going to get one of your hits back. There are walls on the outside too, so if you hit those a couple times, you're going to light them up, and then you can actually walk through them to the other side. I don't think that I use that too often, but every now and again when you're stuck and in a pinch, it's very nice to have that escape route behind you. Solid game, simple, straight to the point, but it does it very well. That is Tron Deadly Discs. And for the 2 spot, we're going to continue that tradition of just taking one awesome scene and making a great game out of that, and that is Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. Now this just takes the scene from the Hoth battle and puts it on the screen for you. So you're pretty much just going to be in your cruiser here and taking on all these different AT-ATs or AT-ATs. I'm sorry, not a big Star Wars guy. Don't fight me about it. But I do love this game, and so you're just going to be in your cruiser here, flying through, taking on different AT-AT AT-ATs. My buddy Colin definitely is going to be upset that I don't know the proper pronunciation. Hey, I put this game number 2. That's got to be worth something, right? But you are looking to just take him out. This is another Defender-style game, but much, much better than Megaforce. The ship controls super well. There's all this momentum, so you've got to be careful working with that momentum. It goes pretty quick. But once you learn how to control it, it is awesome. Now the trick here is to actually slow down, do a bunch of damage to the lead one, slow it down so the other ones can't go past it, because if it does get to the end of the screen, then that is game over because they have reached the rebel base. So you're going to fly through, taking these out, trying to make them explode. There is actually a missile duct that will appear every now and again. If you make a direct hit to that, it just blows them up. Otherwise, they do take a lot of hits. So that is very thematic right there. They don't just go down easy. Sadly, no, you can't rope the legs and trip them up that way. But if you do last for a minute or so, then you will get the power of the Force, which makes you invincible for a while. Outside of that, your ship can take multiple hits, and you can actually fix your ship by landing in one of the little crevices at the bottom. It might seem like it's a little bit of a repetitive game, but trust me, this one is a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. If you like space shooting games like this was the one. This was the one for the Atari. And I gotta say, way better than any of the other Star Wars games. Oh, those ones, they were a little bit brutal. Not exactly great stuff. So I'm glad this one came out because it definitely redeemed all the shortcomings of those other games. Now, this game might get a bit of a bad rap because of one of the ports on another system, okay? Trust me, this one is so much better. This is a game I actually used to play on the Commodore 64. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's based on a movie about a small business struggling, trying to make ends meet in the big city of New York. That's right, this is Ghostbusters. Like I said, this game has a terrible reputation just because of the Nintendo version. But no, this one plays almost exactly like the Commodore version, and it is brilliant. It controls so much better, you don't have to worry about all that crappy driving. There is a lot of driving, sure, But the driving here just illustrates how efficient you have to be as a small business not to waste time and money on things like fuel. Because the PK meter is constantly running, and if you take too long to get to places, it is going to bring on disastrous effects like a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man coming and crushing random buildings. The main gameplay will just be, though, going from building to building, laying out your traps, and trying to get these ghosts. Not always as easy as one would think. Sometimes these ghosts just want to be jerks and hang out on the side of the screen and are impossible to grab. But the goal of the game is to make back enough money so that you're not bankrupt at the end and you can take on Zool. You don't really take on Zool though, you just kind of try to get past the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Then you get this awesome ending scene and you're right back at it again. Yes, that is my favorite game. I know that's not going to be everybody's, but for me, that game is amazing. I don't gotta defend it, this is my list, alright? If you got something to say, then you give me your list, alright? You tell me what are your favorite movie games. And I swear, if anybody puts Porkys on that list, we're gonna fight. That stupid swamp jump drives me crazy. Alright, thanks y'all, and thanks for anybody who put anything in my vote. This was a voted on top 10 list. I'm gonna do another one in a bit here. Anyway, thanks for participating. Thanks for listening. This is Coach Troy, and I will see y'all next time.